What is going on, YouTube universe? This is ArghGodzirra. Welcome back to another AFL tips and predictions video. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to check this one out. Today we are looking ahead to round 10, which is Indigenous Round. We're going to reflect on round 9 and lament on one of the upsets of the season. But before we do so, ladies and gentlemen, on screen right now, you will see a competition code and a URL code. Those can be found in the description of this video. You click on it, takes you to the tipping website, sign up, it is for free, costs you $0 to play, enter yourself into my comp, have a little bit of fun. That's what it's all about. One other thing I want to point out, when it comes to my tips for the week, you'll see that I've already locked them in, because I recorded this video before, and then realised my microphone was turned off.
I'm a big fuckhead.
Yeah, you can say that again.
Fuckhead.
But anyway, now that we have gotten all that tedious stuff out of the way, we can reflect on round 9. I tipped 7 out of 9 correct, another back-to-back 7 week for myself. We kicked things off by backing the Bulldogs against Collingwood. We said by 20. It turned out to be a little bit more than 20 points, and I don't know what happened in this game. The Bulldogs just had them on the ropes from the beginning. I honestly thought no Cody Waitman up in their forward line would be a huge out. But they just got it done. And Collingwood, they're starting to really show that without Brodie Grundy's dominance in that ruck position, they're not really winning any contested ball in the middle. They're kind of like a shadow of what they used to be. Let's not forget, this is a club that played in the grand final only a couple of years back. So, it's kind of like we've seen so far this year the regression from the Bulldogs, but the Bulldogs are now slowly starting to come back. But we've just seen kind of like a picture of certain clubs reaching their heights in recent years and then just dropping right off. I don't know what it is with Collingwood this year. I know a lot of people had Collingwood actually winning the wooden spoon this season. I didn't think they'd actually travel that bad. I've probably got them thereabouts right now where I thought they would finish up, but I would have thought we would have seen a little bit more out of them. And there was some umpiring decisions like the whole 50-metre stuff for, demeanour towards the umpire and everything, whatever the case may be, kind of did ruin the game, but it wouldn't have changed the outcome. The Bulldogs were just way too good. MCG on Saturday, the Richmond Tigers making it 3 in a row, held off Hawthorn with 3 minutes to go, 10 points difference. I was a little bit worried, but then Shea Bolton, Jason Castagna, bang bang, 2 goals back to back, puts the Q in the rack. Thank you very much. I'm just glad to see Richmond back to playing some good Richmond footy. And again, another good outing by Tom Lynch, sitting on top of that Coleman leaderboard. I am so happy. Port Adelaide getting it done against North Melbourne. Not by as much as I thought they would. I thought they would have actually done North in by a hell of a lot more, but still, 60, is that 69 points? That looks like 69, 79. 69. I can't count. But it's a 10-plus goal win, and I did say that Port would have to win this one by at least 10 goals, and they did. So they got where I thought they would be. But at one point when watching the game, I thought they were going to blow North Melbourne out by 100. And, I thought the glaring omission late of Jai Simpkin was really going to open that game up. But North Melbourne, even though they got smacked, they still show small little glimpses of play every now and then that give some little hope towards the future. Maybe. I'm not in a position where I'm supporting a club that isn't all the way down the bottom. So I'm not, that's not a gloat or a brag, but I don't know the mindset of where club supporters like North Melbourne would be at right now, where Eagles would be at right now, what they're kind of wanting to see. So if you are one of those teams at the moment, say from Hawthorn down to the Eagles, as you can see on the screen for the ladder. So Hawthorn, Adelaide, GWS, Essendon, North Melbourne, Eagles. If you support one of those teams, let me know in the comments down below. At this point in the season, we're going in 10 rounds deep. The most wins any of those teams have had is only 3, so they've lost 6-7 games. Some have only won the 1 game with North and West Coast. Let me know at this point in time what you were just wanting to see. Is it just competitive football? Is it glimpses towards the future? I'm keen to know. First blemish of the round for me came from St Kilda defeating Geelong, and I think in the end it just came down to St Kilda's speed being way too quick for Geelong to handle, because Geelong, obviously, we all know, are an older team in the competition. I still thought Geelong would get it done, but I should have taken into account that St Kilda play really well at Marvel Stadium. And, as I said, first blemish, upsetting. I was out that night and I saw it on the screen and it cut me deep. It really did. But this one didn't, because we knew Sydney would get a comfortable win. I said they'd have to win by at least 6 goals. They ticked that margin off quite comfortably. Essendon still looking a shambles and look a little bit stupid after Dyson Heppel kind of really revved them up after coming back against Hawthorn last week, and then they come out and play like this. So it's one of those situations at the moment where you don't know what the stasis of where the club is at. Are they going to stay in this stasis for a while? Are they going to stay dormant? I don't know what the case may be. They did do one thing, though. They re-signed their CEO. How do you do that? How do you have a club that is so dysfunctional this year, and then they go and re-sign the head of the fucking demon? I don't understand. Anyway, we'll move on. Brisbane getting it done over Adelaide, very much closer than what I thought it would be, even though it's a sizable margin. I thought Brisbane... I'm pretty sure I said Brisbane should do Adelaide by at least 10 goals. I'm pretty sure I said that. This is another game where Brisbane had the chance to put the foot down against a club that has been thereabout, but we expected to be a bottom 4 team this year. Let's not mince words. But 2 games in a row that we've seen, they didn't put the foot down against West Coast. They haven't put the foot down against Adelaide. And in a year where percentage could make a couple of spots, jump up and down, they're wasting some opportunities percentage-wise, but still in second gear, they are winning by comfortable margins, and that's rather scary. Upset of the year, I feel. Gold Coast Fremantle. Fremantle have been playing a brand that I feel at the moment has them set as one of 2 teams that could probably knock Melbourne off their undefeated streak, and then they come out and lose to the Gold Coast. It was an absolute shocker. I missed watching this game. I saw the results at the end, and still trying to wrap my head around how the fuck this one went down. But hey, Gold Coast fans up and about because they got another win on the board, so congratulations to them. Carlton getting it done against GWS. So this is 2 games in a row where GWS have played up in New South Wales and they have lost on home turf. So a lot of people expected GWS to do better this week, or last week, sorry, because it was Leon Cameron's last game as head coach. Mark McVeigh is going to take over for the rest of the year, so will GWS continue that streak this year of stand-in coaches winning their games? Who knows, but Carlton still proving that they're definitely a dark horse in this year's competition. And then Melbourne. Again, could have put the foot down against West Coast, and it looks like they were just in cruise control. I don't know about you. Even though they are sitting undefeated on top of the ladder, it is always good, especially when you've got the hunger to win another premiership, to put the foot down against clubs like this. I'm still shocked that we have seen Brisbane and Melbourne play against West Coast, and you would have thought if Richmond could do them by 100 points, both of these clubs would have, and still Richmond stands as the only team to have cracked that 100-point margin against West Coast. So that makes me proud, but that makes me think whether Brisbane and Melbourne took it a little bit easier in those games and didn't want to risk injury or whatever the case may be, but hey, they still got a very sizable win and didn't get out of second gear again. So, scary, maybe. We move on to see who tipped the most for round 9. I think it was 3 of them from memory. Oh, what have I done? I have done something completely wrong here. It is locked. Oh my god. Checking in on the competition for this week, there was only 3 that tipped 8 out of 9, and I know the difference with Crip was Saints over Geelong because he was out with me on the weekend and he made sure to tell me that he tipped the Saints. So it was Tristan H, Michael T and Benny P all tipping 8 out of 9. Congratulations to the 3 of you guys for tipping the most correct this week. And for total tips, if I'm not mistaken, Frio90, Courtney K, another week on top of the ladder. Congratulations yet again. 59 total tips, with some cripple, myself and Brighton75 all sitting on 57. Couple on 56, couple on 55. The competition is still open for a lot of us, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure, as I said at the top of the video, you get involved. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I recorded this video and there was no mic work.
Fuckhead.
And I wasn't able to get the team lineups done because when I recorded the video, the team lineups hadn't been announced. But now we can do what we did last week. I know which teams I've picked going off of my tipping. And as you can see, just a brief little look here. You see I've already locked in my tips. So we're going to go onto this screen, look at the ins and outs, and I'm going to tell you who I have tipped off of this screen here. So we can see the ins and outs, and then I'll just say who I've picked, and we'll have a bit of a chat. So, Friday night, later on tonight, kicks off with Carlton taking on Sydney at Marvel Stadium. In for Carlton, Lewis Young, Liam Stocker. We have Brody Kemp omitted. Zach Williams out injured. I think they said 10 to 12 weeks he'll be out for. Huge out for Carlton. And Jack Nunes is being managed. Colin O'Riordan is in. James Rowbottom got that 1 week suspension. Probably shouldn't have, but he got it. And Ryan Clark was the medical sub, and we know the medical sub always gets dropped out and then whatever for the following week. So, this game here, I've currently gone Sydney by 13 points. I find it very hard to split these two right now. I really do. If Harry Mackay had been playing, if Zach Williams in their defence had been playing, I would have 100% locked in Carlton straight away, no questions asked. I feel Sydney's forward line at this point in time is a little bit more damaging, with the likes of Heaney, the likes of Lance Franklin, and then all the other younger kids that are getting up there and scoring as well. Defensively, Carlton slightly have the edge, but I think Sydney's forwards are going to be able to put enough pressure on that back line to make them crumble a little bit. Even spread in the midfield. I think maybe Carlton might have a slightly stronger midfield, but with Tom Hickey back in the ruck for Sydney, it's going to be a really good battle in the middle. That's where the ball's going to be won, but I think at this current time, I'm happy to go with Sydney by 13 points. Saturday kicks off, Adelaide Oval in the afternoon. Adelaide taking on St Kilda. Lockie Murphy and Riley Thilthorpe in for Adelaide, with Himmelberg and Scholl omitted, and Luke Pedlar was the medical sub, with Nasiah Wanganeen Malira in for St Kilda. I'm happy he's back in because he's been good this year. Jack Higgins out injured and Jack Steele out injured. Two very critical outs because I feel Jack Higgins has been in All-Australian contention as a forward pocket, and Jack Steele, their captain, has just got a very strong, firm resolve about him, and he wins a lot of contested ball, lays a lot of tackles, so that's a lot out of their midfield. I still think St Kilda are going to get the job done here, even though it's in Adelaide. I think St Kilda have proven this year, when their backs are against the wall, they can come out and perform incredibly well. A lot of people would have written them off against Geelong last week. They proved a lot of people wrong. Even with these two omissions, I feel they can get the job done even if they only just fall over the line. A win's a win, no matter how much you win by. I think this might be a closer contest than people are thinking, but I think it goes the Saints' way. Later on that afternoon, GMHBA Stadium, Geelong taking on Port Adelaide. In for Geelong, we've got Gary Rowan and Jed Buse. Out is Cooper Stevens, the med sub, with Brian Myers being managed, and Mitch Nevitt has been omitted. In for Port Adelaide, Tom Jonas and Trent Dumont, with Martin Frederick, Orazio Fantasia, and Xavier Dersma all omitted. Some big omissions there, especially Xavier Dersma, very good, young, talented kid. I have gone with Geelong. I don't think Geelong are going to lose to St Kilda and then come in front of their home crowd and drop a game against this mob. Fremantle have proven this year Geelong can be beaten at home. Brisbane came incredibly close to doing it as well. Port Adelaide, can they make it 5 from 5? I think that's what they're going for now, 5 in a row. Can they do 5 from 5? They've got it in them, yes, I think they do. But I think Geelong have been playing a more sustainable brand of football to get the win done at home this weekend. Later on, we're going back to Marvel. North Melbourne taking on Melbourne. This has to be a game even with Melbourne on top of the ladder, blah, blah, blah. As I said, percentage boosting game, you want to take as much as you can. A lot of people are speculating that a lower tier club like North Melbourne could be one of the ones that derails their game due to going in with a mindset that they've already got the game won. I don't think North Melbourne do it this week, but there is potential for it to happen. And if any club would do it, I would love for North Melbourne to do it, because I've got some North Melbourne supporting friends out there, and I would really love to have a smile on their face this weekend, but I think Melbourne's going to be too strong. But we'll do the ins and outs anyway. In for North, we've got some big names. Hugh Greenwood, Jason Horne-Francis, Jai Simpkin, Tristan Cherry, all in. Omitted is Atu Bosnavulagi? Is that right? Atu Bosnavulagi. I hope I fucking said that right. Callum Coleman-Jones and Jaden Stephenson, with Charlie Lazaro and Jack Mahoney out as well. Stephenson's omission is big, but he's been playing well under where he should be at, so I don't blame that move. We knew that Coleman-Jones would be dropped once Cherry come back in anyway. In for Melbourne is Jake Melksham. We've got James Harms out injured. We've got Cade Chandler on suspension. As I said, Melbourne's going to get this done quite comfortably. They should get it done by 8 goals, and I think they will get it done by 8 goals. Now, this is something I want to bring to attention, because even though they're... Right, it says 7:30pm. 7:30pm. We've got 2 games going on Saturday night, and the fixture, the floating fixture... Now, this game here, I've got to quickly go back up to show. 7:30pm for Adelaide St Kilda. 7:30pm for the primetime Dreamtime at the G, which is one of the marquee games of the year. This floating fixture bullshit has had multiple games this year that have fallen on a double booking, and I think it is crap. It is so fucking crap. They really need to fix this moving forward. You can't have marquee games like Dreamtime at the G, or could you imagine if they did an Anzac Day where they had the Anzac Day game clash with something else? Imagine that. They really need to have the bigger games of the year separate and taken aside from being clashed with anything else. Just my personal opinion. I hope we don't see any other clashes moving forward, but we probably will. But regardless of the fact, Saturday night, Richmond taking on Essendon, Dreamtime at the G, one of the marquee games of the year, as I said, especially for Indigenous Round. This is the... I'm saying this is the game because they make a big spectacle of it, and it has been traditionally, for this round, one of the must-watch games. This year, probably not so much because Essendon hasn't been performing all that well. Essendon apparently have decided they're going to come out with a brand new game plan this week that they've been practicing. It's really stripped back and they've gone back to basics. I'm a little bit worried for them, because if they have stripped back from what they've been doing this year, then what are we going to see? Because they're in all sorts. Let's face it. Statistically, they're the easiest team to score against, coming up against a club who has a full forward at the moment who is in arguably career best form, and the best form he's been in since 2019 with Richmond. Coming up against a Richmond team that has found their hunger again, that is playing their dominant brand of football again. This probably could get a little bit ugly. It could. It really could. The last few times we've had games against each other, we've had some really good outings. I don't think this is going to be the case. This could be incredibly one-sided. And as a Richmond fan, it'd be great to have a dominant performance, but, you don't want to have a spectacle like this so one-sided that it's unenjoyable to watch. I've got to say my words better. But in for Richmond, we've got Josh Kipgis and Robbie Tarrant. I'm actually surprised Robbie Tarrant comes back in because I feel he's been a little bit slow this year. Biggie Nuwan omitted. I would have preferred to see Biggie Nuwan kept in the team and given more of a run, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. Noah Bolter did his hamstring last week, but it's only a low grade, so maybe 2-3 weeks max. And Marlon Pickett suspended, which is the huge factor of this game. Marlon Pickett and his wife designed the Indigenous Round jumper for Richmond this year, and despite his suspension, which states that a player suspended cannot stand on the ground in any capacity during that suspended round, they are apparently allowing him to still take part in the Aboriginal war dance before the game. I don't know how that's going to sit with some people, because I'm going to feel the whole, they've bent the rules because he's Aboriginal, blah, 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 and it's going to cause a little bit of talk. I feel it. In for Essendon is Devon Smith. Out, Jai Caldwell, which is huge because he's been probably one of their better performing players in the midfield. And Tom Cutler has been dropped, which again, Tom Cutler has had some very good moments as well this year, so I'm surprised he got dropped. Devon Smith underperforming by his standards too. When he came over from GWS, I thought that he would be an absolute live wire, and he has been for a couple of years for Essendon. Not this year, though. Richmond, for me, 6 goals. 6 goals. Sunday. Is this Sunday? Are we up to Sunday yet? No, we're still on Saturday. I don't know why they have got the games mixed up for times. But anyway, earlier on Saturday, we have Bulldogs taking on the Gold Coast at Mars Stadium down at Ballarat. Tim O'Brien in the back line for the Bulldogs. Rourke Smith and Taylor Duray out. Darcy McPherson has been omitted from the Gold Coast with currently nobody named to take his place. We'll probably get something later on. I don't think the Bulldogs, after defeating Collingwood, would go down to where they play good football down at Mars Stadium. They play really good footy down there. I don't think they're going to drop the game to the Gold Coast, but we saw the Gold Coast rock up and do a number on Fremantle, and Fremantle have been playing better than the Bulldogs, so you could work out a scenario where the Gold Coast do beat the Bulldogs, and I can see that going down, but you can only beat the team that is in front of you that week. Gold Coast had a huge scalp. They're going to be up and about. They're going to have a lot of momentum about them. This could be a tip I could make that would probably sit differently from a lot of you guys in the competition this week, so I might even flirt with the idea later on, but I think the Bulldogs around the ground are much stronger than the Gold Coast, and I think they should get it done in maybe a closer contest than what people think it will be. Sunday, Fremantle taking on Collingwood. The times again, this is killing me. But Fremantle's taking on Collingwood over at Optus Stadium. Lloyd Meek, Matt Taberner, Michael Walters, Sam Swikowski all named in. Josh Tracy omitted. Out of those omissions, I would say probably Matt Taberner is the one that comes in, purely because they're playing the same. They're playing the same position. But with Walters, Swikowski, and Meek all named as well, I wouldn't be surprised if Walters and Swikowski came in. Meek would probably be the one that misses. That is a lot of firepower back in for Fremantle. But speaking of firepower, we're batting deep with Collingwood this week, ladies and gentlemen. Jack Ginnivan, Jamie Elliott, Mason Cox, Nathan Murphy, Reef McInnes, Scott Pendlebury, and Trey Rusco. If you missed my video last week, go and check it out, because we had a little chat about Jack Ginnivan potentially with some things behind the scenes that could have been down the line of some racial taunts towards a Richmond player, which saw him suspended internally. I hope to Christ, if that was the case, that it is made public, because for people like Eddie Betts that are currently fighting the fight trying to get racism stamped out of the game, it needs to be brought to light. It can't be brushed under the rug. But we're not going to talk about that any further. The outs, Aiden Begg is omitted. That's a bit of a shame, because I thought the kid's shown some promise, but with Mason Cox named, it was only a matter of time. Callum Brown omitted. Finlay McRae was the medical sub, and Jack Madgen was injured. So for them, I would probably guess Mason Cox would be the swap for Begg. Jamie Elliott would be the swap for Callum Brown. Jack Madgen is injured, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Scott Pendlebury come in for Madgen and play off that half-back line. Finlay McRae as the medical sub out. Ginnivan will make his way in. I am backing Fremantle over in Optus. I don't think they would lose to the Gold Coast and then go home and drop a game to Collingwood. But Collingwood has a lot of firepower coming back in this week, so don't be surprised if they give it a fair shake. GWS taking on West Coast. Big names in for both teams. For GWS, this is in Giant Stadium as well, so let's remember that, because we've seen GWS 2 weeks in a row lose over in Canberra. So is this going to be a trend 3 weeks in a row? Who knows? We have Jacob Weir, Jake Stein, James Peatling, Jared Brander, Jesse Hogan, Josh Fahey, Matt Flynn, Taylor Brun, and Zach Sproul, all named in, with Josh Fahey and Jacob Weir, if they play, as they'll be debutants for the club. Connor Stone out injured, Cooper Hamilton omitted, huge omission, he's been playing some good footy. Finn Callahan injured, Lockie Whitfield injured, huge out for them. Lockie Keefe omitted, and Nick Haynes out injured, so they have lost Whitfield, Keefe, and Haynes out of their back half. 3 big outs. I would argue Brander would easily come in to fill one of those spots. Matty Flynn would probably come in to fill a big man role. Jesse Hogan might come into their forward line. I feel some of these young kids might be getting a decent crack in the middle in a defensive role. And it's good to see Mark McVeigh's first game as a head coach, well, interim head coach, names 2 debutants to potentially step straight in. I think that's a very good shake-up. For the West Coast, Gaff, Huff, or Hugh, however you want to say it. I think it's Huff. I think it might be Huff. Williams, Shuey, Bazzo, and True all named in, with Cripps, Ryan, and Foley out. True and Bazzo named as debutants as well. I don't know whether they're actually on West Coast list or if they're top-up players through the supplemental top-up that they get because of COVID and their injuries. But Gaff and Shuey, notably, 2 of the biggest ins they've had all year. Shuey's got some really dodgy hamstrings, though, so I would hate to see Shuey come back in after injury and then get injured again. But I feel his body has been letting him down, and that could very well be a point that does go down. I'm tipping GWS in this game. I don't see them dropping it to the West Coast. They've lost the last 2 at home. New coach. We might see some different things go down, which I think is very exciting for GWS. Could this be Mark McVeigh putting his best foot forward to potentially step into a permanent head coach role? I hope so, because as a player, I loved what Mark McVeigh brought to the table. So hopefully they can get it done here. Who knows? Who knows? And with Hawthorn taking on Brisbane, we round out the round down at Tassie, so it favours Hawthorn down there. Ins for Hawthorn is Jyath, Howe, Callow, Hardigan, Shields, Long, and Mitchell. We have McDonald, McGuinness, Gunston, and Warple all out. Ned Long named as a debutant, and he is a very handy forward, so I feel with Finn McInnes out, Ned Long might get the chance up forward. For Brisbane, Marcus Adams is out with COVID protocol, but we've got Devin Robertson, Mitch Robinson, Ryan Lester, Tom Fullerton all named. I think Lester would probably come in to play that back role, maybe even Fullerton, but it'd be good to see Mitch Robinson get a Guernsey and get back into the team. He's been sitting on the out for a little while. Brisbane quite comfortably for me, 6 goals. Hawthorn were valiant against Richmond, dropped the ball severely against Essendon the week before. Brisbane's been playing in cruise control and still winning by 40-50 points, so they should get it done. But I would love to see some of the young kids of Hawthorn really stand up tall against a team like Brisbane. So, to recap, we can look at this screen. I've gone with Sydney, Geelong, Bulldogs, Melbourne, St Kilda, Richmond, GWS, Brisbane, and Fremantle in the order it should be. Thank you for joining me for another video. I hugely appreciate it. If you do like this content, please hit that like button down below and subscribe if you haven't. It does go a long way to helping myself out. And if you would like to see any more, AFL-based content, whatever it may be, let me know in the comment section down below. I always listen to you guys when it comes to stuff like that, so get chatting down there. I'd appreciate some. But that's it from me, guys. Good luck to your teams this weekend, and as always, I will catch you guys next time.